Hi and welcome back. It's Tara here and I'm here to share with you week 2 of this 5-week series in which I'm sharing with you about the seasons of your cycle. So last week I just wanted to say very quickly a very big thank you to all your wonderful kind comments and all your feedback about the videos. I'm so pleased that you've liked them, and I'm so pleased that you're finding them helpful. That's most important, and this is all building towards a bigger picture of you getting to know yourself and getting to know your bodies, because that's where the power really truly lies. So thank you. So yes, jumping back on to that note. So last week we looked at your amazing bodies and your hormone systems. This week we're going to be introducing the seasons of your cycle. So last week was all about the biology. This is a bit more about theories about identifying 4 different stages to your cycle and how you can work with those throughout the month. So, bit of a quick recap. Remember last week I introduced you to this. So this is a chart that shows from day 1 of your bleed through to approximately day 28, but remember that's not set in stone, and shows you the estrogen rises and falls and shows you the progesterone rise and fall throughout the cycle. Well, we're going to be using this to underpin these 4 different stages within the cycle. So the first stage is your menstruation, which is your bleed, which will be happening towards the start. So your bleed, day 1 of your cycle is always the first day of your bleed. And then we're going to be looking at pre-ovulation. So this is the period that's on the run-up before you ovulate. Then you've got the period that's all around ovulation, and then you've got the period called post-ovulation, which is as all your hormone levels start to tail off as you're preparing to bleed. So the best analogy that I have heard for this, for those 4 different stages, is the seasons of your cycle. There are other theories out there that the information is still the same, but they've got different labels. But I think that this is the easiest one for people to be able to identify with. So when we're talking about the seasons of your cycle, I'm talking about, like we have in our country, we have seasons. We have winter, spring, summer and autumn. So today we're going to be focusing on winter, because that's a really good place to start, and for many women it's an area that's filled with lots of complexity. So what I'm going to do is take you through, demystify some of it for you, and hopefully get you working much more in harmony with this stage of your cycle. Because if I observe anything in women, and myself included, this is an area that we really are disassociated from. And personally, I believe a lot of this has to do with how periods are viewed within our society. They are still incredibly much a taboo. There's a lot of shame attached around periods. There's a lot of old baggage, which is that they're dirty, they're seen as unclean. And actually we need to bring the periods back, because 50% of the population at some point in their life will have a period. How can this be something that's so shameful, so taboo, so dirty? Why is it still something that's not talked about? And so really, in doing this series, I'm putting periods on the table, just so you know. So that's a little bit of the sort of wider context rant over with. But what's going on in your body during a period? Well, as we've discussed, those hormones are dropping down. But if we come back to our uterus diagram, you see these walls that sit around the uterus, around the womb. That's your endometrium lining, and it's that actually sheds once a month. So it builds up throughout the month and it sheds, and that's what actually contributes towards our bleed. So each month we will have that shedding of the uterine lining. And whilst our body is undergoing that process, it's a very energetically consuming process. It's a bit like if you were to eat a roast dinner, whilst afterwards you wouldn't want to go out for a 10-mile run within 5 minutes of eating a roast dinner. You would sit down and you would rest. Why? Because to digest food takes a lot of energy. And we're no different. When we bleed, it takes a lot of our energy. Our body is undergoing a very big process. And for some women who only have very short and small cycles, other women are undergoing massive amounts of stress and strain, because they will be having significant blood loss, huge amounts of pain, huge amounts of discomfort. And so our bodies are all different, and there is nothing that's either right or wrong, but generally our bodies are undergoing through a process that they don't do at any other time of the month. So how we treat ourselves in our winter is actually really is really, really telling as to how we treat ourselves, but it also needs to be different during this phase to other times of the cycle. Why? Because our bodies are doing something different. So, just like winter, we shut the curtains, we have early nights, we retreat inside, we get warm, we get snuggly. I encourage you to do this. All too often we seem to go into a period where we can just, where our bleeds are a time of the month to fight on through, and no period is going to beat me. Well, actually, when we work with it and we start to rest, this is where the beauty comes in. Because if we take the first point in our winter, low energy, we're slow. Our mental faculties aren't strong when we begin our bleed. Again, all that energy is going into the other function of bleeding. And as I described in the first video, our brain activity has a 25% variance in its activity during our cycle. And I can pretty much guarantee it's at its lowest. I am on day 2 of my bleed today, and I have already taken 10 videos, and I can't decide on any of them. And I'm finding it a bit more challenging doing this video today than I did last week, but I'm okay with that because I know that's where I am in my cycle. So I strongly encourage, when you come into your bleed, take that pressure off of yourself. Jobs can wait another 2-3 days. Allow yourself this downtime, because the more you allow yourself here, know that in 2-3-4 days you're going to be up and running back and able to deliver huge amounts, but you've got to rest here first. So relax into this. If you're a gym bunny, you usually do pump, you normally high octane, energetic type activity, you may want to slow it down for the first couple of days of the bleed. Remember, your body is having a bleed, so it's doing something else. Still be active, walk, do some gentle yoga, but not anything that's really high octane and demanding on the body. During this time you may notice that you're more inward focused, and what I mean by that is you don't want to be out partying, you don't want the late nights, you don't want to be around huge numbers of people, you don't want to be in loud, noisy environments, you don't want environments where actually you're having to be fast on your feet, the quick and clear thinking, see, word, memory recall. Actually allow yourself to go inward. This is a really wonderful time where you can retreat. Think that key word, hibernation. Winter is hibernation. Your physical and mental symptoms. Often this is the stage where they are at their highest. Women can experience huge amounts of pain during this process, significant blood loss, so they can be very, very tired. Right the way through to mentally they don't feel overly great, might be feeling low in their mood, maybe anxious, worrying, tearful, they might have swollen tender boobs, bloating. Generally, if there's going to be a time where you're experiencing most of the symptoms, it's going to be during this time. So a lot of those symptoms will be kind of normal because we've had the drop in hormones. But a lot of them can also be giving you messages back from your body. How we bleed is how our health is. So if you have got very exaggerated symptoms, then you may want to go and see somebody to start exploring those, because your bleed is feeding back to you what's going on within the body. And this is a really key point in your cycle where you're highly intuitive. The left and the right hemispheres of your brain are working much more closely aligned, which allows this the ability to see the wider picture very, very clearly, very easily. There is a really special gift during this phase that really, this is the no bullshit phase. And what I mean by that is we naturally have huge amounts that we are constantly thinking about dealing with. And when we come into our bleed, we don't have the energy to maintain dealing with all of it. So we start to come back down to basics. And so what I would say, if you've got a problem, issue in your relationship, something in your life, take it into your bleed. If you still think and it's still an issue during your bleed, then it's something that you know you need to work on for the rest of your cycle. If it's not, you'll just naturally bleed it out. It won't be as significant for you. So this is, your winter is the time to hibernate. It's get comfy, get cozy, get cuddly, get the hot water bottle out, get the blankets out, and rest. You may only need to do that for 2 days, but it will pay dividends for later on during your cycle. And it's one of the things that I know as women we have significant challenges over, which is resting. But take this time take this couple of days that's completely for you, shut yourself away. You may want to even start journaling. Doing meditation is wonderful at this time. It's a wonderful time for you to be able to rest and recuperate. So this is very much a time of hibernation. So that's the winter stage of your cycle. I hope that you've enjoyed today's video. Next video we're going to be looking at spring, which is where we're going to be coming out of this this period of time where we've been hibernating and actually wanting to present ourselves back to the world. But for spring to really take off, we need to be resting and hibernating and have that downtime in our winter. So next time we'll be looking at where we're going to be going with the spring. I hope you've enjoyed today's video, and if you have, share it with other women. If you think this has been of interest to you, then very likely talk to your friends, talk to your family. It's going to be of interest to them too. So share. I've set it up on the Connect to Your Feminine Flow group that actually you'll see at the top you can add members. So invite people away. Invite people that you think would enjoy this video, because they're going to be up on the Facebook page for a long time to come. So enjoy your winter, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Okay, many thanks, lots of love, bye.